Hello everyone. How are you? Here we are today with Roland. We're gonna be doing some discussions. Say hello, Roland.
Hello, everybody. I
Um,
am.
Can you introduce
I'm the
yourself, maybe?
designer. Oh, say again.
Can you introduce yourself and the game, maybe? I'm pretty sure
Yes,
everybody knows you, but it's probably better.
I am Roland Frigon. I'm designer of Titan's Battalion, and I've been working on the game balance of chess variants for a decade, and I don't think many people do that.
Yeah, probably not. So, what do we have today?
Well, here on the board in front of us, we actually have a Shogun's Battalion mirror match on the N3 battlefield, which happens to look exactly, almost, like a Shogi board.
Okay, I need to fix something really quickly so that I'm on the right side, not the left side of the screen. So give me a sec. I didn't think that this is gonna be a problem. Give me a sec. Gaming right. This gonna no, this is not good. Oh, I will have to figure it. Give me a sec. You can keep talking, I guess, but
Okay.
I have to put my
Well,
face not over the board.
the the current problems stem from our balance solutions because this game isn't shogi by default. It's normally set up to be something like shogi versus chess, right? Something like this board, where your face probably is. But you can see most of a chess set around here.
Yeah, now I
But
moved my face now. Yeah. Okay.
so against just this army, this actually feels mostly okay. It needs further testing and like a real deep dive, like spending a whole month playing, 100 or so games. But this felt okay. This match with an extra soldier that was slightly different in hand, right?
Extra pawn, you mean? Yeah, okay, soldier.
Or yeah, extra pawn, and then the gold and the silver in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And there were definitely some notable problems, like, hey, if you fianchetto, you're just opening yourself up later for that silver or gold to drop in here and pick up a rook, right? So doing this is a bad idea, and you probably just want to open up the center, get your bishops out this way, and you have start with the tempo advantage as the medieval army, just because you have so many pieces that can get so powerful and active quickly. But then the other army, after it sits down and turtles a little bit, it just
Mm-hmm.
basically push all the generals,
Yeah.
is able to pick up enough material to create an attack that's as fast as black's, right?
Mm-hmm. We have slower development, but then yeah,
But then you have that explosion of the counterattack, right?
exactly.
But if we go back to this, for one, we had a few pieces that we have changed inside this battlefield area, right? The
Mm-hmm.
soldiers aren't as significant, but what it is still necessary. And there are armies other than this one, which having these particular pieces in hand causes problems. I'm actually going to show a couple examples that your chat may be kind of familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's. Okay, there's two sides to this problem. Uh, or the problems that are facing this army as a whole. And that is one, the mirror match does not feel shogi-like enough. Despite having drop rules, it messes with Joseki too much. Even when you can remove these pieces from hand for both players at the start of the game, using the spirit clause, which we can get more deep into the weeds of the rules in a bit on what that is. But essentially, there's a way at the start of the game for both players to take these out of hand. So you would think this game plays out normally, but the problem is that once the knights get into the center of the board, because some battlefields have essentially obstacles in them, you need ways for the knight to not get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps I can go through and double check that this isn't an issue, but I'm fairly sure it is. I will double check to make sure it's not an issue at all, but
Yeah,
because I haven't done that recently.
As you know, the only variant of Titans Battalion that we played was chess and shogi, and we didn't use those special rules, so I'm not really sure how those obstacles would affect it. And can you remind me how the knight moves after it gets to the blue area? Like the chess
inside,
one, right?
Yeah, inside of your camp, it's the normal knight. And then once it's inside the battlefield, it also can do the same thing sideways.
And it can also capture sideways?
Yes, at the moment.
Gotcha. So maybe the problem is if it arrives there and there is like a square that blocks it, and then it run out of movement, right?
Potentially, yes.
Well, you could do some mechanic that obstacle is a mountain and you can go to the square next to it or something, but maybe it's too complicated.
Perhaps. I was thinking just it would automatically, you would have the option to have the piece self-capture and go to your hand. That was my main one.
Oh.
The lances are much more guilty of this because there are definitely obvious cases where, like, even when I set up the Black Army to be medieval again, this lance is stuck.
Oh, yeah.
And so is this soldier, kind of.
But again,
we already have an easy way around that.
If it arrives at the blue square, it can move sideways, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't get stuck, technically.
Yes, at the moment.
Same way the knight, because it has the add movement, it can go back, right?
It can't quite go back. It just can sidestep.
Yeah, but it's still inside our camp, so we don't have blockades in our camp, right?
No.
So there won't be a situation where it's forever blocked. So the obstacle shouldn't matter this much. Unless you drop it to a square that's specifically. But in shogi rules, if a piece cannot, like we have those variation for kids, or like Kyoto shogi, basically if the stuff cannot move, it's just there forever. Like that's the rule. We don't care that it cannot move.
Would you prefer that, to be honest?
I mean, if you put yourself in that situation, it's your fault, right?
Well, to an extent, because this situation is unavoidable on this board.
Well, again, it can move sideways, right?
For the lances.
It can move sideways when it gets there.
Okay. The potential issue, and correct me if this isn't an issue, is that the changes that we made to the knight and the lance inside the battlefield mess too much with Joseki in ways that are counterproductive to proper gameplay. Perhaps it's just the fact that they can capture with that movement. Like, if the lance could only move sideways inside the battlefield, it wouldn't be an issue.
I mean, it's a necessary rule to equalize the other titans, right? You have chess versus shogi. If you don't have this rule, the lances are too weak and shogi is too weak in general, right? The problem starts when you have shogi versus shogi. This is where it messes it up, right? So
yes.
Then the question is, do you want to have a game of shogi, or do you want to have a very unique game with unique game set with new Joseki?
That is fair, but okay, let me read to you the balance process as a whole.
Okay.
So first things first, we try to get the army to feel good in a couple of ways. Let me see if I can find the rant that I already put so I don't have to type it out again.
I feel I need to take my note as well. Meantime, chat, I'm reading your messages. I'm just not having enough time to read them out loud. Queen is OP all the time, yeah. Lance,
Queen is OP all the time?
In this variant,
yes, it is.
If your lance arrives on those squares in the middle, it can move differently, yeah. It's Titan's Battalion, so it's not real shogi, technically.
Okay. So step 1 is to get all the armies, including this one, to feel as true to their base game in the mirror as possible. We want to have a faithful representation of shogi in this game, right?
Yeah.
And to feel good against chess. So those are the first two. So it needs to feel like the real game and be able to fight this army. Those are both of those goals. And those are conflicting, but you can make it like you can put limitations on yourself in some ways and just give yourself more room in others. So one example of a proposed rule set, let me delete this army again.
I will have you ask to try to play out a shogi game with this rule set, just so that I can see how it changes the Joseki. You mentioned changes, but I never played this variant. But sorry, you were in the middle of something.
That's fair. Okay, what's a Joseki where knight moves quickly into the middle of the board?
It's the left knight, and it's the demon killer.
Demon killer?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. Could you show me? There's no rule enforcement, so you could just click and drag the pieces.
For example. Okay, sorry. Let's do this way. So it's like this, kinda.
So it's a static rook that looks like it's about to do a bishop trade, to be honest.
Yeah, but the problem is if you make a mistake and you defend here. I forgot the exact Joseki. I put a dot on my nose. There's one more move that I'm missing somewhere, but okay, there's no rule enforcement. So let's say it's like this. The bishop disappeared, unfortunately. If you drop the bishop here, you're able to like attack those squares here. And it's kind of the idea, yeah. But
yeah, if you
in this case it doesn't kill the knight, which kind of changes it as well.
Yeah, and it also, for example, the knight has the option to retreat to this is a safe square.
Yeah, it's interesting because it abuses this pawn, which is quite interesting.
It does. And with tempo on that silver, potentially. As well as that's one of the squares near the king that could potentially be used as an anchor for your attack.
Yeah, so if I were to like think about the knight position in the middle of the board, so it can come here, then it can come here, but then it cannot really change.
And that would be present even if the battlefield movement was only movement, right? It only had the ability to reposition this way.
Yeah. I mean, in Shogi, we don't like to overextend our pieces anyway. In this case, they would become a target. It's hard to say. Yeah, I would need to play out a game to like get a feel of it. I don't know what is the Joseki that you used to play. I imagine.
I mean, I have one player who might be halfway decent that could fight you.
Like, I can imagine making this position, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like the lance became a rook for a second. It's quite interesting. Hello, Pro Blundermaster. Hello, chat. There's a question. From what I understand, the sideways battlefield movement is to account for board size mismatch, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it too unbalanced if we remove the battlefield, so no moving sideways, but kingdom chess side can drop pieces like shogi side?
Oh, the chess side can drop pieces that they capture, just like shogun.
But so shogi pieces give you the ability to like drop them. You cannot drop the chess pieces, right?
No, you can drop the chess pieces.
You can drop the chess pieces.
When a shogi titan, a shogi king is on the board, it gives both sides the ability to capture and drop pieces.
Okay, so it's like a special rule, like a sieve game type of deal.
If there's a shogi army on the board, both players are able to drop. That's just how it works. We also have tested and tried one-sided drops, and it has always been one of the most broken things we've ever tried. It does not work.
Yeah.
The shogi.
The
So if you can imagine, just a quick side tangent, this chess army. So every trade that the chess army would try to do, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, um, pawn in hand, and then this goes away somehow, and now you just have a pawn in hand in exchange for um, the shogi pawn,
Yeah.
and that continues. So, okay, you're going to throw the rook, capture a knight, a bishop, or a rook, something, and they lose this piece, but you get it back, and then you immediately replay it, and then you take the piece and get it back, and immediately replay it. You take the piece and you get it back. And you're just sitting there slowly eliminating every piece that they have because you have infinite resources, or exactly enough resources to do so.
But then they also get the piece in hand, right?
They do under current rules. I was just explaining why we couldn't have one-sided
Ah,
drops.
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, gotcha.
So that's the first potential issue, and I'm not sure how much of an issue it is. Lily seems to think that a good example would be Yoko Fudori.
Mm-hmm. It would
Oh,
be something like this, you know.
yeah, one moment. I was trying to get all
Yeah,
the pieces
I
set over.
was messing it up, yeah. So we should have one more pawn in hand for white, I think. Wait,
Oh, that
one, two,
might
three. Yeah,
have disappeared.
yeah. I put it on top of the. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
It
makes sense.
it should be the spirit pawn, I guess, or whatever it was called. We're missing one pawn.
Let me walk through that because you went through that rather quickly.
Yeah, sorry. I
Rook pawn, rook pawn, rook pawn.
I probably
Uh,
put my rook on top of a pawn in the last move.
silver.
Hello, Mifa.
Wait, how did that work?
Hmm? I picked up pawn by
Oh,
hand and I put them on the
I
side.
see.
And then the last
You
move, I didn't pick it up. I just moved my rook on top of the pawn, which deleted it from the board, I think.
you rushed it slightly. And
Yeah.
yes, you did delete one pawn for white.
Yeah.
Let me get that back for you.
Um,
There we go.
Viredin is suggesting that we could eliminate the middle of the battlefield when there are two Shogi kings on the board.
Uh, that doesn't really work.
Hi, Melkor.
Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so first thing, if we nerf the knight and the lance on the battlefield to be weaker, it will not make it impossible to balance. We have other tools that we can use to give this army other than this. But this is only one of the issues, right? Now that we've established this one, uh, I'm going to show a second one. Or you can play out a game with Lily if you'd like,
One more
because she's the only
question.
player I know who can maybe face you.
One more question. There wasn't possibility of Nifu, right? The double pawn.
There is no Nifu, that is correct. There is
And
one exception, but that is removable in the mirror. And that's this blue guy.
the blue guy.
Yeah.
The Jean pawn, I like to call it. Okay.
The officer. Yeah.
How about chess versus chess? What's your logic there? It's like normal chess game in that case?
Well, okay. If I'm going to set this as a sideline while I set that up. So I'll set up a different battlefield, in this case P2, and put the chess armies out. And then promote it to main variation so you could see it. So the way chess versus chess works, promote to main, is yes, you have some areas of the battlefield which can be extra. This is P2, and this is a different battlefield. The player who goes second chooses the battlefield at the start of the game, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be N2, right? So they're both 2 across, so you end up with the same distance across in the mirror, right? And the
Yeah.
armies end up playing out fairly well. The main thing is because the pawns have a battlefield movement, some weird things happen. So let me just do a king's pawn opening real quick. For example,
White moves
something.
first, right?
Oh,
Or
yes. Oh, I was looking at it from Black's perspective, so I messed that up. Let me fix that. That's embarrassing.
no, no, no. I was confused. I'm like, I know this opening, and then you move the pawn. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, I don't
Mhm.
know this Joseki much, so okay.
It's a dumb one. Usually white doesn't just push their queen pawn and get this easy target for black to attack for extra development. It's not even a gambit.
Yeah, I think I
This is
got
just bad.
destroyed by this this game plan like yesterday, so I'm not gonna say it's bad. All right.
uh, but the point is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
This pawn, even if this pawn dies, right? This pawn is not going to get isolated because it's already in the battlefield. So what's a good example?
How does
Let's
it
say that black
work?
does this,
Uh-huh.
white can now do this,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and because of
Side.
the battlefield movement, and now it has extra tempo on this knight, and you have the ability to side shuffle. So it does change chess opening theory, but not in a bad way. Like this ends up being more interesting than it is counterproductive here.
Well, you could argue it changes the Joseki, right?
It does change the Joseki.
Yeah. So something for something in Shogi 2, it's gonna change the Joseki.
Mm-hmm.
Couch Tomato says his suggestion is only allow sideways battlefield movement when there is an obstacle, including overhanging edges on that file. Also fixes Xiangxi matchup. Actually fixes chess matchup too, he says. I'm not sure what it means.
Oh, Couch Tomato is user.
No, I know who he is.
If oh, you
Yeah,
know who he is?
yeah, yeah. He's
Okay.
on our server.
He also made most of the variants on pie chess that get played. So Ordo chess, Empire chess, those.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just clicking through this game that you had set up, or through this Joseki. Was this Yoko Fudori that you set up here?
Oh yeah, the beginning of, because we just took the side pawn, and this is
Mm-hmm.
what engages the yokofu, which means taking the side pawn. Yeah,
I see.
yokofudori. So that would be standard, but
Oh, yeah, the structure is completely symmetrical.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
both players were making all of the same types of moves. But notably, oh, that's right. I need to get the blue back to be in the right spot. Uh, huh. Just looking at this. In many modern variations of this Omi, both sides will activate the knights.
I mean, you have to consider that unlike the normal yokofudori, you have two more pieces on the board and in hand immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So
Those don't have to be there. At the start of the game, before all of this happens, either player at the moment can remove all 3 of these extra pieces from hand.
oh wait, Justice actually points out something important.
Mm-hmm.
This rook can be taken.
No, it cannot. It is movement only sideways for this guy.
For the pawn, it's movement only. For the
Yes.
knight and lance, it's different, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So the rook
And
cannot
that
be
was
taken.
necessary because there were a lot of fourth rank defenses that were impenetrable if
Yeah.
the soldiers could protect each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's the... Okay, so we consider no generals in hand variation, so it's more normal. But then we have this battlefield, right? It doesn't affect the rooks, right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
The only pieces it affects are these three, and these can't violate Nifu, so they can only move sideways into open files. So, like, this guy and this guy, once they reach the battlefield, could move into this line, but that would be the only differences for the pawns. But the lance and the knight are the ones that are potentially problematic. I'm just not sure how problematic they are. And I was kind of hoping you could tell me if it's okay that they move sideways.
So, for example, one of the developments would be, I'm not sure where this king goes. I'm really not a master of this particular Joseki, but let's say this happens, and next move they're immediately activating their knight, right?
Yeah.
No, the sideways movement doesn't change much, just the fact that you can retreat it. The fact that you can go here and here, that might be worth considering. Similarly with this knight just migrating here and helping the attack. But paradoxically, because we inputted so many moves on activating the rook, the lance is underdeveloped, so I don't know if it's immediately a problem. Then once the knight is taken or the lance is taken, it becomes non-shogi game, of course. Yeah, I have no idea. No idea.
So it's just different. It's not bad. At least with the battlefield movements.
Yeah, so far, yeah. Now,
Okay.
if I would start the game thinking of abusing that rule and like activating the lance, then the Joseki would change because, right? I prioritize my lance front. But then you can come up with Joseki that if your opponent pushes a pawn, you push a pawn too. You block each other lances. Yeah, and you cannot develop them.
Play like this.
Yeah. I mean, this is normal in Shogi as well, actually, but it's more important here. Every game is a deadlock, you say? Which game is a deadlock, Lily? Wouldn't white just take... No. Oh, okay, when the pawns were taking sideways. So yeah, like, we can consider this move immediately, right? But then again, in Shogi you can stop it from developing. Okay, this guy can come here now, which is kind of weird, which is scary suddenly. Okay.
Yeah, and then going here also targets that pawn. So your knights and lances definitely increase in value. Yeah. They're not quite as strong as like the bishop and the rook, but they're definitely like, I don't know, I actually think it would be I think you would rather have the knight in hand than the gold at that point.
Depends where the king is.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so this is, I think this could be a Joseki itself. Like you see your opponent tries to develop the knight, you block it, they attack your pawn, you move your rook. Like, it could be Joseki itself, basically, for me.
It does leave this.
Oh no, the knight is here protecting, so. Then you activate your enemy's knight, so that's kind of funny. And this time, yeah, in Shogi, if this pawn was here, yeah, we have this idea of, oh, we're gonna take this pawn, you're gonna take, it's this pawn. You're gonna take our knight, and then we're gonna target your knight's head, and as you escape, we're gonna promote it. But the problem here is, if I understand correctly, this knight would be protecting this square.
No, it is not.
It
can't go backwards. It only does sideways and forward. So it's It's 3/4 of a chess knight. It doesn't have the backward squares.
Okay, but it still would like counter activate this knight, yeah, depending on the situation. Here, yeah, you cannot expose it immediately because you're one move behind. If you do this, then they can protect somewhere. Let's say here. So it looks kind of like unusual Joseki, I'd say.
Okay. Unusual, but not problematic. Kind of like earlier with chess, I showed you a really simple
Yeah.
variation where the sideways pawn movement immediately mattered.
Yeah, but I didn't play many games of it, so I'm pretty sure there are more veteran players in the chat right now. Yeah.
What's your chat saying? I actually need to look at that.
Yeah, Coach says that you didn't answer his question.
I haven't answered his question yet. No, I'm going to, I promise.
Okay.
You just gotta give me time.
You need to think about it. Okay. And they're explaining about why the side movement, side taking of the pawn was deleted.
Okay. So the next thing that I wanted to try to show you is, let me get back to where there's just the armies being set up. Yeah. And then I'm just going to, okay,
I don't see anything.
promote to main.
Oh, now I see. Okay.
So against the chess army, having these particular pieces in hand is not an issue, but it's not the only army in this game.
Okay.
So if I just quickly throw down, this is not the Shang-Chi army, this is the one that's a combination of Shang-Chi and Zhangyi. But as you can see, there's an immediate problematic target square right here as Sente.
Yeah.
Just a gold general or a silver general right there.
Yeah, capture
will
some.
target something. And the attack is already on and they're super weak. Now this army also has pieces in hand, but they're too slow to actually protect these to an extent.
Okay.
All they're going to be able to do is trade like gold for rook or gold for
What do
either
they
the
have in
elephant or the
hand?
horse. If I recall, they have an Imperial Chariot, which is like a shorter ranged version of the rook. It only goes 3 squares.
Okay.
Another Jungi soldier, so it goes forward and sideways at all times, moving and capturing. So they can only drop here, and this guy can only be dropped inside of here, inside of the palace.
Okay.
I think that's actually all they have, if I recall.
Well, you could make a rule that you cannot drop piece on the first round or something.
So yes, that was one of the ideas was you couldn't drop pieces for X number of rounds or until a piece is captured, something like that. That way they would have time to just move the rook forward and actually cover their defenses.
Yeah,
right?
Makes sense.
And then it actually becomes a dynamic game from there. They just have to watch their back from these being dropped, right?
Or you just capture the bishop on the first move and drop it on in front of the pawn to protect both diagonals, but hey.
What?
No, I'm just laughing because you can jump and then drop the bishop here or something. But that's not gonna work in long term.
Well, no, the cannons are loading for the first 3 turns, so this target is something that White is also worried about in this particular matchup. But let's actually look at P3, which is a slightly different battlefield, so that things are a little bit less equal, so you can start seeing some of the problems. Where is it? Palace Black. There. So now the cannons are just targeting a lance and a silver. The silver capture comes with check, so that's a good thing. But these are loading, and you still are able to drop the gold or the silver and cause the problems. And it's even worse if we're looking at Shang Dynasty or Morning Calm, which is the actual Shang-Chi and Zhongyi armies. Because Shang Dynasty has even less defense against this because they don't have the Imperial Chariot. Well, no, they have a full chariot. Oh, no, the issue was... What was the issue? I'm trying to remember what exactly the extra problem was. Oh, because it's both of these squares in Shang Dynasty.
I
right?
know this stream doesn't look like Shogi at all.
Well, this is...
Well, again, I would have to play a game of it to understand exactly. I mean, I see the problem of dropping it, but you've solved the canon problem by making them reloads, or reload the same
So
way.
similar idea. It should take extra time.
To put pieces in hand, yeah. Or something.
One of my chat members and developers is roasting me because I meant to place the army here. And I put it over here where it's not even connected to the board fully.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. So I the rule of the first piece exchange would make in Shogi, because you cannot have pieces in hand in Shogi unless you exchange
until a piece exchange.
So
which that would also feel better for that. So you think that's a good solution for that? Oh, I have a ton of things that basically Couch Tomato has been drilling me with other ideas for how to balance this army. Let me find one of his specific questions at least.
Yeah, I mean, each army is different, right? Clearly.
Yes.
Like if we would apply this same rule for the chess one, their pieces are too strong, so it might be like too late already.
Well, yes and no. The spirits are needed to defend against faster attacks. So the pieces in hand at the start of game. So you actually you don't need them for defense until a piece has been captured, so you don't end up being just completely overwhelmed under these rules, even if it's just these pieces. And you would end up getting more. The other potential issue is something like, I know this army isn't balanced, please nobody try to complain, but I'm talking about Frostbeast now. This square looks exceptionally juicy to try to pick up this rook. Same sort of idea. Again, if you have to have captured a piece to be able to drop your pieces from hand, then the rook won't die.
Are you
right?
drawing
Because they'll be
something?
able
Because I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, I didn't promote it to main. My bad.
Oh, okay.
So this army has a similar weak spot right here, where this square is unprotected.
How does the move in
and
the
this
corner
rook
move?
can't move. This moves diagonally.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's a weakness.
Yes. These are checkers pieces if you've ever played checkers or drafts.
Of course, I played checkers. These
is
are
what
we learned before chess. Yeah.
International drafts pieces. You have 12 of them on opposite colors, 2 sets of 6. But the silver general drop here to just pick up a rook seems really spicy. So similar issue there. And then Twin Sons, similar kind of problem. It's right here because this captures like a knight. This captures like a knight. This captures like a rook. This captures like a knight and then some. So it's just everything circles around and targets many squares that aren't that square.
Well, Couch is mentioning a solution that you cannot drop the pieces. in Xiang's territory, but yeah, that would make Shogi very weak. I don't like that idea.
Well, we have other ways to buff them. So if
I
we can
can
determine,
imagine, because you can add obstacles in the game, right? So you
yes,
could imagine those squares that are impossible to drop piece into, like a ultimate cover for the weakness, like saying those places are red and you cannot drop here or something like that.
yeah, let me show an example of one of the boards. This is barrier core. No, this is barrier edge. So this is one of the battlefields that has extra squares that block your movement, right?
Sorry, what does it do?
These are the holes in the board. You
Holes
cannot
in the
pass through
board.
them.
Okay.
Yeah. So the board would be shaped like this, and this is a legal layout other than this random piece in hand of the game. This would be a Shoguns versus Twin Suns matchup.
Okay.
And under current rules, these pieces that were necessary against medieval end up being able to exploit this formation weakness on turn one.
Mm-hmm. Unless we have the rule that you cannot drop it under capture, or we block that square completely.
Yes, but blocking that square completely would be odd.
Mm-hmm. So how about until first capture? I mean, it feels naturally for Shogi to do so. Like it unlocks the hand or something.
Couch Tomato was worried that gaining the enemy's pieces would feel odd for a shogi player. So he wanted some rule set where when you captured enemy pieces, you would gain shogi pieces in hand instead of theirs.
I mean, it's part of the battle titans that you can get the other pieces. No, I thought it's like quite fun.
I I agree,
Mm-hmm.
and basically nobody has been fully engaged with that.
I mean, you can have two different set rules. You can have, oh, we're gonna take your pieces, or we're gonna take the Shogi equivalent. You can have those two set rules and see which one is more fun to play.
Yes, it's also true to say that this particular board is rather important because if you see this outpost, this particular blocking square, while this pawn is alive, this lance is not getting out.
But that's
Or at
normal.
least while this one.
That's normal. It's Shogi. The lances never move in Shogi anyway.
Fair. But you would probably have to get rid of this pawn, push this, get this over, and then finally develop your
Yeah, but
lance.
that's
And
that's
it's
the
just
plan. Yeah, that's the plan.
it is. It is.
It would be funnier if the pawn could fall into the hole.
If it could just fall off the
Yeah,
board.
yeah, yeah.
Just down, 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 down.
Just be destroyed or something. Yeah, yeah. Or actually arrive at opponent's hand or something silly like that. It would be quite fun.
Oh Lord. Take the time to give it to your opponent.
Yeah, yeah. But then your lance is active. But no, I think it's quite natural that the lance cannot be activated, paradoxically.
Here, you could just tuck the soldier in the corner so that you can get your lance out.
Main reason being promotion. You don't get pieces that can promote. It's okay, right?
Well, you kind of do, but
I mean, the
it
god
depends
cannot
on the
promote
enemy.
anyway.
So if we look at medieval again, because that's probably the best example.
I mean, let me answer Couch Tomato. Like, we're not playing Shogi versus Shogi. We're playing Shogi versus whatever the name of the variation is, and therefore by capturing that other side, it's kind of different and kind of more fun. I don't want to play Shogi when I play this game, you know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Roland.
Fair
What
enough.
was it? Yeah.
Fair enough. That that's where my head was.
Yeah.
The idea was a shogi player playing this game would want to be able to see what they can do with like chess pieces in hand or shang-chi pieces in hand.
Yeah. I would enjoy that. But if you wanna play other side, then just play the other side. No, I don't wanna play the other side. I wanna play Shogi version of the other side. I wanna be able to drop their pieces, you know. The other side doesn't have that ability if there's no Shogi on the board, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
There's not another drop variant in this game.
By choosing
Somebody
Shogi, I put that crazy element into the game.
Yeah, somebody did make a Chu Shogi army though. This one's interesting.
Wait, Shogi has more pieces in it.
It does, but they took pieces from it, including this variant would give both players a lion.
Wait, they got. Where's the lion?
It's start of game, so let me find it. I actually have to remember which of these pieces is the lion.
Yeah, I see the elephant, I see the phoenix, I see the side mover and the whatever mover, I see the
Yeah,
copper
this one.
general. Oh, here. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, God. Did you know that lions cannot eat each other unless there's a specific rule situation?
Yeah.
So crazy.
Oh, I accidentally grabbed the one that's a promotion of the keyring.
I mean, it's more scary
Yeah,
now that it's red.
that's true, but this is the correct one.
Mm-hmm.
But to that point, this piece actually promotes into this.
And it promotes on the third row, which is faster than in actual Chushogi.
Yes.
Yes.
It promotes inside the enemy camp, I believe.
Yes, that's crazy. This is more
Yeah,
scary than the chess matchup, honestly, with that lion on the board.
yeah, but you get one too. You could put it wherever you want at the start of the game, by the way. Any of
No,
these
just
squares.
its existence mess ups with my head.
I
Mhm,
understand. This is not an official one that we are embracing, but
uh-huh.
it does exist if people want to go off the deep end.
Conteti
And
says that he's asking, is the opening phase only the problem in all these scenarios? As long as middle game and end game are balanced, opening game would have more clear design constraints. It might turn out all you need is just to rearrange starting position somewhat without changing the board too much. So is it a problem in the middle game or end game?
not as much, no.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Shogi army, because it's a drop variant, the material advantage doesn't matter after you get into the mid game and end game. It comes down to who's faster to set up tempo, build up an attack, set up an anchor, and then all of a sudden you're in a king kill race, right? You're in
Mm-hmm.
a Shogi end game.
Yep.
And that's always the case when Shoguns is on the board. The material stops mattering at a certain point.
Yeah, so unless like there is like opening trap that gives one side huge
Which there
advantage.
is,
Oh, there is?
but there is against, well, I showed a couple of them, but there's like 5 examples of, oh, there's one weakness on your territory and you drop a silver general there, pick up a rook or a
Oh,
bishop or
that thing.
something.
No, I assume
And
we will have the rule to until first exchange, but
yeah, that's probably necessary.
yeah. I mean, what I'm afraid,
Um,
because chess has so many strong pieces, you know, you line up them onto one line, you wait with the exchanges, and then you just punch in. But then, as you said, because we do that, we get pieces in hand. It's not this easy, I think.
mhm. Another thing is there's an example from Shogun Chess, ironically, where, and that is a drop variant, where the queen actually starts promoted and when captured demotes to a diagonal one mover that has the opportunity to promote back into a queen,
Oh, okay.
right?
I was like, what the heck is a promoted queen? And yes.
So it starts as a queen and then goes back down to this once captured and
Mm-hmm.
then goes back. And yes, thank you, Lily, for not arguing with Couch too much. She's trying to be civil.
What happened? She doesn't usually agree with Couch. That's what you're saying?
She doesn't.
Yeah. It's hard to please Lily to begin with. But if most Shogi players prefer to drop pieces from other armies, fine. I do think this is much harder to balance, though considering the other armies have some wacky stuff that sometimes depends on their other pieces. I don't know about all the armies.
That is fair.
But like, yeah, if I'm playing against chess pieces, I would expect that if I take the queen, I get a queen. Like, that's what I'm expecting at this point as a Shogi player.
Yes. If someone just throws you into this game, you're expecting,
yeah,
if I kill this, I will have a queen in hand.
Yeah, but because what? If you degrade it to a rook and then I give away my rook and you get a whole queen, that's not a balanced way, yeah? Because you get stronger piece in exchange for my weaker piece. Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's like you would have to balance the exchanges themselves, which is more silly, I think.
It is.
But Coach says, no, that wouldn't how it would work. Oh, no.
So the way it would work is you would get, like, say, a Shogi rook when the queen died, or a Shogi bishop when the rook died, or a gold when the bishop died, and a silver when the knight died, right? They would be assigned to certain pieces, and, like, you would know that you'd get, like, Shogi pawns when their pawns die, and that type of thing.
Yeah, but then Coach says that queen would be valued as a rook, so if the shogun captures a queen, they get rook in hand, queen goes away forever. So it means we have two shogi rooks on the board now? No, one shogi rook on the board that... No, two shogi rooks.
One shogi rook on the board.
No, because we have one shogi rook and then the queen rook, right? Queen shogi rook.
Well, the queen rook would only appear after you captured the queen.
Yeah, but then we end up with two rooks on the board, right?
Yes. Or, for example, 3 bishops if both of these rooks died.
And, it feels like Kyoto Shogi, when you have to remember what piece promotes to what when you capture it. It sounds like additional effort that's not fun.
That's true. Yeah. It is also more complicated.
It's like saying, here is more balanced version, enjoy it. And I'm like, no, I want to have the queen on the board, it's more logical. Like something like this is how it feels, but...
Yes, that's fair.
Karo, which is kind of what happens with Shogi versus Shogi. You capture the enemy rook and you have a rook in hand and a rook. Yes, but this is not Shogi versus Shogi. This is Shogi versus chess. That's the point. And also, if you would change all those pieces into Shogi pieces, it's gonna... We will have 2 dragons, 4 bishops. I don't want to think about it.
4 horses.
4 horses. I don't want to think about it. 4 horses. Oh my god.
Yeah. That was his last specific attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we've covered all of that. Would you...
I agree, Lily, with you. Yeah, chess would prefer to preserve the queen, yeah. So they wouldn't have fun, basically. Mm-hmm. Would you... All right. What did you...
Well, the thing with the queen being so powerful is you just can't afford to lose it unless you know you're going to win the game soon. So one of the things that you have as an advantage is if the queen is out, you can harass it. And then it has to retreat. It can't trade in. Otherwise, you end up with a queen in hand. And
yeah.
Good lord, having a queen in hand. Personally, I'm always more scared of the knights in hand, but,
I still feel that silver and gold in Shogi hand versus this. It's like...
I think part of his argument is that it takes so long to get your pieces back in hand, because you have to lose them,
Yeah.
they play them, and then you take them back. That you can't do things like do earlier when you were showing a shogi joseki, there was a line where you would sacrifice the knight in order to promote the soldier, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, over
And you would
here,
get a
but yeah.
token targeting the rook.
Yeah, yeah.
It was over here?
Yeah.
You get a token targeting the rook.
Yeah, that's
And
one of the shogi.
You just can't do that with the enemy pieces being, pawns and none of these having promotions.
True. I mean, pawn do have promotion, but yeah.
They do have promotion, but their promotion is so strong that you
Yeah.
can't drop them inside the enemy camp.
Yeah.
Kind of like Nifu, that was a balance reason.
Coach also points out nice thing that actually because queen devaluates, you're more comfortable losing it. If you sack it to take a rook or gold, you could go for a kill.
But then you're nerfing the Shogi Army, which is not what we need to do. The Shogi Army is a little light on punch with only one rook and one bishop. It's better with the battlefield buffs for these pieces, but
if I had Paul here, Paul learns every week with me. We do 1 week of Shogi, 1 week of chess. If we had an option to play this variant, I'm pretty sure we could have a nice game. I just don't, because I'm not so familiar with chess, I don't see how chess can like win this game. Diagonal movement. Cannot clearly imagine. Those pieces in hand look scary for chess side, I'd imagine.
Yes, they do. Staring down the barrel of a gold, a silver, and a soldier in hand, especially a blue soldier that can ignore Nifu and just jump in your face. Like, I'm gonna go for what would be a good option? Something like this, and then all of a sudden you just ooh, that's actually a scary idea. So the line I'm looking at is you can force something to capture here with a Nifu drop to like somewhere at some point a pawn that is pushed on one side. Like say this bishop goes to this side or fianchettos or whatever happens. There's an opportunity to force this pawn to go and then remove a defender from this square and just ooh. Yeah, there's definitely ideas. Because not only that, but that opens up this as a drop square for the gold and the silver. As long as you have it protected by like a rook or a lance or something.
Yeah, but it's not easy to get a piece to affect that square.
No.
Yeah.
But once you do, you do. Especially with, you just have this knight dancing around the whole board trying to get to what is it, this square?
But again, you will have the knight protecting here already, so.
That's true. So there is counterplay, but there's an obvious game plan where these pieces just can set up all sorts of attacks.
If I
like the idea of the capture weight.
Yeah. It feels natural.
If only there weren't these obstacles blocking the pawn and lance. Are you complaining about these?
I mean, I can activate my lance immediately here.
That is true. It seems like the more open the battlefield is, the better it is for shoguns. They want a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah.
This is starting to get into like battlefield theory on like what battlefields you want to play what armies. But this battlefield, which is P3, is wide open and has extra space on the side for you to tuck your pawn to get your lance developed early. as well as it has that extra space, so your opponent has to spend an extra turn to get the pawns involved. Because if this was only a 2 across battlefield, the pawn would immediately be targeting here, right?
Yeah. That's what we came up on the last time we had the stream together. I agree with it completely. That the closer these big pieces are to Shogi, the scarier it is.
Yes. And being able to tuck your pawn to the side for a lance development is a lovely opening idea, and not something you can do this way due to Nifu. So
Yeah.
having that space is amazing. I mean, sure, this lance is still suffering, but that's always going to be the case somewhere against medieval.
I mean, Coach Potato says, would it be possible to import a game to demonstrate at least?
Yeah, he wants me to import a game with his proposed rule set and show it to you. Do you want to do that?
The one where you capture and then it downgrades?
Yeah.
I mean, we can take a look.
Just walk through the game? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me find it. It's in scores and replays, right? Yeah, this is the text. I have to open it up. And then after this, you and Lily can play a Shogi mirror game to see how you feel about the Joseki.
Sure. Oh god, what's going on?
Okay. Well, you already saw the end of the game just now, right?
Well, I don't understand what's happening, but sure,
well,
yes.
if you just... I'm actually going to give you just a tiny bit of a UI lesson. So you're in analysis, the analysis window right now. You can just click on the first move right there, and that's going to be battlefield placement, and walk through it.
So this I have to click, right? There is no button to...
Yeah, you click left or right in order to work through the army. And then they assign all of the pieces to their values.
Okay, so I guess this starts here. Left and right arrows. Oh, okay. The keyboard arrows. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the gold pushes next to the bishop. Pawn push for the fianchetto. They start with a gold and a silver in hand. Pawn push bishop. Gold protects the pawn that the bishop just targeted. Pawn double push on the rook. Pawn re-attack on the rook. Battlefield nonsense. Drops the silver there. That's odd.
Wait, the rook became... I take the rook and it became a lance.
Yes. They assigned what pieces were what on the top right and just had it set up there.
So I go for something that's called a rook exchange, but I'm getting lance in exchange of it.
Yes.
That feels bad.
It does.
It makes me angry.
It makes you angry?
It just makes me angry.
I understand. And then they go to repeat moves and decide not to. The gold gets dropped targeting the knight, and then a knight is gained in hand. And a gold is gained by the medieval player. This feels bad.
Wait, if I take this rook, that's a shogi rook, that's gonna be shogi rook, right?
Yes, it will. Once it's a shogi piece, it stays a shogi piece. So this game ends up slowly turning the entire army into shogi pieces under his proposed rule set.
Well, then the chess people wouldn't be happy, I'd imagine.
That's fair. I think this leaves nobody happy.
What is black magic? Titan's Battalion. Ooh.
No.
All right. Can we play a game with Lily and then I can like compare it?
Do you want to do the Shogi mirror,
Yeah.
or do you want to play against medieval?
Shogi
Okay.
mirror.
I will send her the link. When was the last time I DM'd Lily a link? Probably months ago. She hasn't been active on our Discord recently. She disappeared for a little bit, probably because we weren't doing heavy balance testing these last few months.
Everyone has their own tempo in life. No need to.
Yeah, everybody needs time.
Yeah.
So probably also going to lock you guys into N3 in order to try to make this easy. And then both of you, I'm gonna lock you guys into this battlefield in order to make it not super weird. But you both do have the opportunity to remove the spirits from hand.
Well, just don't add it then.
Oh, it's because you're going to remove them?
Yeah, just remove. I want to see how it looks without the spirits.
Understood.
Yep.
The heck? Oh, well, I have no idea. Who's Sente, who's Gote?
I'm gonna get triggered because if white moves first, that's opposite from what it should be in Shogi.
Understood, but yeah. Yes, it's white moving first. You could see the little Sente on the king.
Oh, no, we're not going there. Roland, we're not going there.
I know.
There is no Sente on the king. That thing doesn't exist.
Okay, well tell me what that mark is then.
The higher ranked player or the title holder will have the black king. The challenger or the lower ranked player, we have the white king. If you want to make it look equal, you should give the dot to both.
If you want to make it look equal, you should give the dot to both. Understood.
Yeah, so that both are the lower king, kinda. By the Japanese culture, yeah? It has nothing to do with Sente.
Well, in that case, you are definitely going to have this king, yes?
Well...
And then you just decide who goes first.
I mean, I don't care. I'm just telling you, do not repeat the lie that the dotted king moves first, because it's a lie. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm pretty sure it's actually on the Wikipedia as well.
Oh, God.
For Shogi.
Typing noises.
You're showing your search, by the way.
Written, yes, I know.
Okay.
Sente Gote. I don't... It's not...
My artist
it says higher ranked player or reigning champion. It clearly says that on Wikipedia.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Well, I'm leaking fresh arts that I just got from my artist because he sent them to me and I have to download them somehow.
Why is my system in German? Because I live in Switzerland.
Huh. I could have sworn you were Polish.
Which part of that sentence makes me stuck in Poland?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yes, I'm Polish. Yes.
Okay.
I used to live in Japan, but now I'm in Switzerland. Yeah, but
I suggest Lily play as Sente as black.
Yeah, I will just explain Coach Tomato every time because it's incognito mode. It just refreshes back to the German one. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Lily, if you're black, you can move first, yeah. She moved the white pawn, right?
Yes, she did.
How do I flip the board? Oh, here.
Flipboard is right above Force Westernized in the top right.
So let's say this is normal Shogi game. leaving as far from Russia as possible smart. No, not really. I mean, Portugal would be a nice place to be, but
Hmm.
I mean, if we were to play normal Joseki, I'm not gonna overthink it. If we were to play normal Joseki, it would be this move. Oh, we just started dusk.
There's just tension for the bishops for a while.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah. It's usually better to not exchange. So the pawns cannot capture sideways. It's better to not exchange the bishops because paradoxically it makes the game slower.
Excuse me just a moment, Karolina. I
Yes.
have to let another developer into my house.
Of course. Let's say normal Joseki, right? You thought it would be iFooty, yeah. I don't get upset about it.
Playing against Lily Line. Let's see how this game goes. I'm back.
Yeah, hello. I wanna try this move and see how it goes, but then I really wanna play this, maybe.
Alright, so what's going on?
A high-level Shogun's Mirror match. They removed the spirits from hand.
Oh. Okay. I wanted to see what they would do with the spirits.
I think we've probably determined best course of action to deal with the matchups other than medieval. The spirits won't be in hand until a piece gets captured. Any piece.
Alright. Yeah, I heard y'all talking about that earlier.
Mhm.
I was curious about it.
How do I turn the piece? Like this? No.
Yeah, middle click.
But it... Oh, yeah, it did change the
That
color.
does sound more fair to me because you can't just drop something in the middle of someone else's crap
Yeah.
at the very start of the game they can develop.
Hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't try to activate my knight, right?
Not sure if you can here.
I use the word try for a reason. Daske, this.
Oh, you weren't expecting this?
No, he's just like, what rules are different than normal shogi? And I'm like, I just moved pawn sideways, you know.
Pawns can move but not capture sideways inside of the battlefield, the area between the two camps. If and only if it won't violate Nifu. So this can't go here.
And kind of the knight gets stronger and the lance gets stronger.
The knight also can do its movement sideways and forward on inside of the battlefield, the area between the two camps. And the same goes for the lance, sideways and forward.
But not
otherwise,
backwards, yeah.
Most rules are as normal. Notably, we use the try rule to resolve stuff instead of a point count.
Not fair.
Wow, so that means there are new ways to Nifu? Yes.
Definitely. Oh, wait, also there's the spirit pawn, which is also even crazier. It's a Nifu without a Nifu.
Our official art has a different kanji for it, so you're going to still visually know that you didn't violate Nifu, but it has the same movement as a normal pawn. That's actually the kanji that I showed here, and this is the ghostly version in hand. I got the ghost pawn back, by the way.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yep.
I like the little effects. Thought that was just going to be like an animation or a bit upgrading.
No. That's how it starts, and then I'm just going to have the flames go away once they're allowed to be dropped.
Need to see it. Are you showing it on your screen?
Okay, so the gate.
I did show it on the screen. If you want, I can DM it to you so that you can see it too.
I was curious, yeah. I wasn't watching your stream, so.
I'll have to download it in order to do that. But
oh wait, no, I can see it on the screen.
Long.
I think. Is this the thing?
That's the kanji for officer, I believe. At least that's what I looked up, made sure was right, double checked it a few times, sent it to my artist. My artist double checked, and then we used it.
I don't know, in Japanese, you know, it would be different. So
that's fair.
Okay, but I like the flames, yeah. Okay, the battle
like
is
the size too.
starting.
Ah. The opening has long ended.
Mm-hmm.
Leaking such sensitive information. Like Twitter pieces, like.
Those are public. I literally put them on Imgur for people to download if they want.
You're revealing Titan's Battalion secrets, man. We're gonna have to vote to eliminate you.
It's not going to work.
I'll do it at the tournament where you have no control.
One moment, I need to...
influence.
So I'm kind of confused because taking the bishop would give me huge advantage, but that would indicate that knight is more worth everything according to Lily. But I'm also considering pawn push simply. I'm not sure which one is better.
Back. Sorry about that. My father called.
Oh, it's okay.
And I had to deal with unruly guests.
Unruly guests. I guess I'm gonna pretend it's a normal game and I'm gonna take and promote. I have no idea how to promote. I promote it. Alright.
Promoting is kind of bad. I can help you with it if you want, but it's on the right side, next to the button that says analysis, you'll see one that says setup, and that shows you every piece in the interface, and you can click and drag the promotion over your piece.
Alright. Easy.
Yeah, and if you click switch side, it'll show the black pieces for you.
Switch side.
Yeah, in setup.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We will go like this. It has a cow in it. Cow. Guys, by the way, I learned yesterday that the bishop is also read as a horn. So now I see cow and horns. That's all I see now. I don't see shogi pieces. We also have horse, yeah. What's this monkey? Hence powerful. This variant, right?
Keep having to run off because it's early morning and I hate it. I'm sorry, stream. Mm. Let's see.
There's a door.
Yes, there is. We're holding our first over-the-board tournament tomorrow. Should be interesting. I actually think it's going to be rather small.
I think we're gonna have 48 players. Don't let him tell you that crap.
Our first Shogi tournament over the board was like 7.
Massive tournament.
We only have 6 people that signed up, but I'm worried about people showing up who didn't sign up, to be honest.
How many people took flyers?
I have distributed over 750 flyers in the local area to various bookstores, colleges, high schools, libraries.
Uh,
I didn't say how to.
wait, Lily.
Oh no,
How
Texas
do
is
I-
changing me.
How do I promote my rook? Oh, here it is. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, I haven't wrote Battalion on this one because I was taking it to end games.
Would you like me to be quiet for you, Karolina, so you can focus?
no, it's as you wish. I don't mind.
Oh, okay. Who's winning? That's a good question. I am not good enough to answer that question because it's only going to be a turn or two of difference in these attacks.
Well, which one is who?
White is Lily and black is Karolina. Shogi Harbour versus Lily Lion Mate.
Okay.
It's amazing defense.
I think, not sure. It's a possibility. I just saw her rush Lily at the beginning of the game and get her pieces upgraded.
This is one of those cases where the sideways lance matters. It makes the defense more resilient.
It's a big point that I also like escaped. It being taken for free kind of feels good. I don't understand this move. I'm too scared to read it.
The world.
Finally, the lance won't be left in the corner. Yeah, Justice.
Ooh. Keeping a steady eye on my chat in case I have to do something drastic. But I have enough mods in here that it should be fine.
God. Are Lily and Couch Tomato going at it again?
No, Lily's busy playing.
I'm but a simple man with a simple brain. I can't chat because about Twitch works great.
Oh, because you're on your phone?
Because it closed Twitch because I wasn't on it for a while. So when I open it up, it just has no chat.
Gonna hang out with us today, Sakima?
That's what threw me off for your name.
I told you it's Inuit for king.
Yeah, and I forgot that.
Oh. I did not see this move.
Well, you don't see. I thought you already knew this. You're wearing glasses, for God's sake.
Oh, I made a mistake. I forgot the simple fact that the lenses are actually protecting each other.
Oh,
I mean, it's fine, it just is. My calculation doesn't make sense.
huh.
They're different colors for you than they are for me.
Yes.
For you, that person's green. For me, they're pink. What?
Yes, that's always the case.
Oh.
Which assigns name colors pretty randomly.
Oh, it became normal lens. Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it felt like real normal shogi, apart from that weird pawn move. Yeah.
The weird pawn move, the lances protecting each other, and the lances both
Yeah, and the
repositioned.
lenses. Yeah,
The lances really mattered that game. They repositioned in the mid game to do all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's
Well-
fun because normally the lances and knights are like not very useful, and because they're so powerful, like Lily, even without a bishop, she was quite threatening. So it kind of makes it more interesting and more sharp, and we like sharp things, sharp variations in shogi.
You like sharp things?
Yeah, and no, I mean like sharp variations.
I know.
But like the rule of shogi was that I got a bishop advantage, so it should be a little bit better. And actually,
Also, like sharp
it was
things.
quite closer than expected. I thought that if Lily gets my lance, she will have like two very powerful pieces for that one bishop, but I managed to escape it in quite efficient way, protecting my king's head. I was quite happy from that move.
I just realized you can't hear her, can you?
I'm relying on this.
But I also like Lily, the way she
Oh, that's
activated her
great.
lance. It surprised me.
There's a sizable toy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a good sign. It means we're on the right track somewhat, that this felt like a normal enough shogi game in the mirror. Because this is the closest I could possibly force it under current rules to be close to shogi.
Yeah, it's still original because it has the battlefield, and it's still quite balanced, I guess. Yeah.
Because we did buff pieces, the advantage for Sente should be sharper in this compared to normal.
Again, remember, shogi is a game that if you're the first one to attack, it means the opponent will have more pieces for a second. So it's not so clear if the initiative is this clear of an advantage.
Yes, but on average, Sente is still at an advantage in shogi.
Well, in recent years, Gote was doing better and better in proportional ward in general. Because Gote has the ability of go for Senjte, while Sente needs to avoid that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You're talking probably about this game, then I don't know about it.
And to answer your question, octoelliptical, there are westernized pieces that exist. Here's some example of it, but usually I rely on the kanji, and I just remember that that's the pawn and that's the king, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that this worked, and that the simplest solution to the problem seems to be a decent idea for shoguns against the other armies, where if it works with the capture.
Yeah, I think that's more natural.
That being said, do you have time for another game?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe? Okay.
I mean, technically, yeah, 20 minutes. I don't know how difficult the next game will be, but
that's true. If you only have 20 minutes, it's probably not enough time unless we suddenly incorporate clocks and forced piece movements into this app.
Uh-oh.
GTV. 5 seconds to make a move.
5 seconds to make a move. We will be playing Fisher Rapid on the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm probably going to stream a little bit longer, play some of my chat, at the very least.
I mean, we can also do it in the future, and try different other variants. But I think we had a nice analysis over that question of yours, how to do not give the shogi advantage of dropping pieces in the first move, yeah? So yeah. I think it was quite fruitful.
It was, and it was the most... It was the most likely answer to the question, but I'm glad that the answer was simple, and that lots of the issues that I thought were there aren't as bad. Like the knights and lances under their current rules aren't confusing and don't completely ruin the game feel. Like this still feels like shogi.
Yeah, it feels like very unusual shogi, which is quite important, yeah. both the uniqueness is important and the fact that it still feels like Shogi is important. Yeah,
Yes.
it's quite an enjoyable game we just played with Lily. Well, yeah, you could argue that if you start like normal Shogi position, it's almost boring, like compared to the other variant with chess. When you have,
it's less wild, but
Yeah.
this is an option, and we need to make sure that players sit down at a tournament and they both pick this army, because the armies are chosen double blind, so you don't know what the opponent chose. That it's actually going to feel like a game of Shogi when they're
Yeah.
both using the Shogi pieces.
and definitely did. So that's great news to me. Yeah. All right. So maybe next time we can try another variant. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I want to see what you can do Azure against the Shoguns with a different army.
All right. Yeah, I will.
Or just other variants in general.
You
I might have a chance at you with against you with some normal chess piece type stuff.
definitely. You will continue streaming. I can raid you in that case.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So yeah, thank you guys for coming. I will be checking out.
See what any professional does with twin sons.
I mean, we've seen some pretty wild Twin Sons variations.
See you on Saturday.